Seahawks and Rams down to the last drop. Jimmy Garoppolo trying to lead his team to a victory on 4th and 5. Pass falls incomplete. Seattle comes away with a win in their season finale. LA with the loss drops from the 3 seed to the 4, which is not nothing. They are now guaranteed a 14-win team out of the NFC North. Their playoff meeting will be with the loser of the Vikings and the Lions. The loser of the Vikings and the Lions might be the second best team in the NFC. We're just laying it all out there. This loss by LA could cost them in the end. With that, we also know the Bucs move to the 3 seed. They will play host to the Commanders in the wild card round. All right, back to the here and now. We'll look forward, obviously, to those matchups in just a bit. Bryant McFadden, Emery Hunt, Ryan Wilson here to give their thoughts on what was maybe an uninspired effort by the Rams. Emery, what did you make of who they trotted out there and the way they went about their business with seeding still at stake?
Disclaimer. Sean McVay is still one of the best coaches, if not the best coach in the NFL. And the reason why you like Sean McVay in that role is because you expect his reserves to come out and play as hard as his starters. So to see how much they gave up defensively, how they couldn't really get off the field, was uninspiring, in my opinion, based on what they had at stake. Hey, seeding is important. And at the end of the day, offensively, yeah, they're able to move the football. But defensively, I was shocked because this was a team that was playing really well on that side of the ball down the stretch.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I wonder if at the end of the day, if Sean McVay outthinks himself a little bit. If 2 weeks from now he wonders if maybe the starter should have been out there a little bit longer, right? Because it's one thing to face a 14-win team in a, whoever ends up being, whether it's the Vikings or the Lions coming to town, or whether it's a team like Washington, in which you have a chance. At least you feel better about it because Washington, while they've won 12 games, have quarterbacks, so on and so forth. So I have some questions, but I don't. Sean McVay has been to Super Bowl, and he's won a Super Bowl. So,
Mac, how do you weigh those two things? The possibility of controlling opponent against getting your guys the rest they need, knowing you don't have a bye.
Well, I think it's up to the coach because he knows his players better than all of us. And it's been a very, very long, trying year for the Los Angeles Rams when you look at everything they had to battle through, getting off to a slow start, dealing with so many injuries, and, of course, having a savvy vet at the quarterback position in Matthew Stafford. So maybe Sean McVay, was monitoring and talking to some of his experienced guys and kind of got their insight about what to do in this final week. Because clearly he knew the ramifications of this ball game against the Seattle Seahawks. Win and potentially the matchup. Lose, and of course you know exactly who you're going to see. So I think he felt like the greater good of the team was more important than putting his experienced guys out there for the final game. And I think for Sean McVay, the last thing I'll say is that regardless of who he would face, if it's the Commanders, if it's the Lions, if it's the Vikings, they got to come to your crib. So I think he really played that to be a very, very important factor in his decisions. And, they got to sleep in the bed they made. But regardless, there's no easy out. But to your point, Ryan, there are a few matchups you would rather have than if you were to pick the options. But he decided to rest his guys, and now they're getting ready for week 1 against probably one of the best teams in the NFC at their place.
With all due respect to Jaden Daniels and the season that he's had, what Washington has been, I think you can have a conversation about who you want to see 1 and 2 on that list, but 3 is the Commanders. You want the Commanders. You had a chance to get the Commanders. You had a team in front of you with little to play for other than incentive, and you do take the conservative route. Here is what the Commanders will have: a meeting with the Buccaneers in that 6 versus 3. The Commanders waiting to see this outcome. It could have been a trip to LA instead. Instead, it's Baker and the Bucs. An offense that can go, a defense that'll try and slow you down, as the Buccaneers and Commanders did meet back in week 1 with a resounding victory out of the gates for the rookie quarterback.
Cotton Bowl in Texas. Ohio State and Texas meet for the 4th time. First time since the Fiesta Bowl of 2009. Longhorns won that one 24-21. And go-ahead touchdown pass from Colt McCoy. 16 seconds left. It'll be the 8th meeting between the Big Ten and an SEC team in the college football playoffs since it began in 2014. Big Ten won 3 of the previous 7. Ohio State accounted for 2 of them, including the first round this year at home in the frigid chill of Columbus over Tennessee. Winner of that game secures a spot in the College Football Playoff National Championship game. Buckeyes seeking their 3rd appearance there. The Longhorns, so close last year, looking for their 1st. Early look at the number. Dusty and I, we were talking about it upstairs. I believe I saw it came out at 4.5. That means it's already up to 5.5. I'm curious if there'll be more movement there. Again, it is in the state of Texas. There'll be a whole lot of burnt orange. That's a Buckeye fan base that's going to travel. There's going to be plenty of scarlet and gray for sure, but a lot of intrigue here. Dusty is back one last time to talk about this game. We saw the dominance of Ohio State and the ceiling that they played to in this game. Texas' first priority in trying to slow down all of the options that Will Howard and Ryan Day and all those guys have, what is it?
It's Will Howard and it's Jeremiah Smith, Emeka Egbuka, right? I mean, the way right now this Ohio State passing attack is humming, that's got to be priority number 1. I think that's a pretty safe assessment. Here's the thing. Texas is equipped to do it. This is one of the best pass defenses in college football. Pete Kwiatkowski, the defensive coordinator, he is really good. They've got the Thorpe Award winner, Jahdae Barron, can play corner, can play nickel. You got Michael Taft. You got Andrew Makubo, who we just saw with the game-winning interception. The rangy, they understand how this defense is built. But you better have a plan for number 4. And that's what I'm going to be so intrigued with heading into next week. What is Pete Kwiatkowski going to do to try to take him away? And maybe a better question, can you take him away? And if he does, will Will Howard be able to find others around him that'll be enough to be able to continue this dominant passing attack that they've displayed these first 2 rounds?
Judkins and Henderson can run, too. They got a 2-headed monster in the backfield, too. That guy, I wonder about that. But I wouldn't want to try to run against the Texas front. You just can't do it.
Well, that's part of the problem, though. I mean, Scadaboo, he went from
that's a good
134. I mean, but you got to start somewhere. You asked me.
Cam is some kind of Marvel hero that was made in a lab somewhere.
You asked me, Jeremiah Smith isn't far from that either.
Oh, yeah, I hear you.
But, you asked me, what do you try to take away? I think it starts there.
Okay.
I mean, you got to take a lot away. That's what makes this Ohio State team so difficult to deal with. And I mentioned this earlier, but one thing that has really impressed me, they lost their starting center before the Michigan game. They've lost their left tackle earlier this season. They've had other guys banged up. This offensive line has performed well. That's a really good Tennessee defensive line. That's a really good Oregon defensive line.
You're right.
Will Howard hasn't been sacked
Not touched.
in 2 weeks. And that's part of pass defense, right? The rush helps the coverage. The coverage helps the rush. Can Colin Simmons, can Anthony Hill Jr. as a blitzer, can they get home and get Will Howard uncomfortable? He has been very comfortable the last 2 weeks, and it's showing with the production from this passing attack.
Ohio State's going to have to deal with Texas, too. And if I ask you, who's better than Sark dialing things out? It's not a long list, is it, right?
Not many.
And here's what confuses me. You watch them come out, scripted stuff, two plays, play the fight song. Yeah. And you've called more games of theirs than anybody. They had these lulls against Kentucky, against Arkansas, against Arizona State, right? Where you cannot have that lull against Ohio State in the semi or you're going to get trucked. I'm just interested in sort of what you think that Sark and that Texas offense need to try to really, really dial up against this Ohio State team that had 8 sacks and limited Oregon today.
I think the offensive line has to step up. They were really good against Clemson. They struggled today. But Texas did not run the ball well at all. 53 yards rushing to this smaller, you thought inferior Arizona State front. So I think those guys, you got the Outland/Lombardi Award winner at left tackle. You got a center in Jake Majors, who's made 56 starts at center. This is supposed to be where they really hung their hat. If they can be better up front and you can have some balance. Because the thing about Sark is, you think about Quinn Ewers throwing the football, these weapons, Helm, Golden. He wants to run the rock, man. And so much of this offense is based off of play-action pass, getting the screen game going.
You got to be able to run it to have play action.
You got to be able to run it. So for them to be able to get this excellent Ohio State defense off balance, the offensive line, I think, is going to have to step up. And the lulls you spoke of, I can't put my finger on it. They can look like this year, last year, at times, it stretches. They're good, is about as good as anybody's good. The problem is we don't see it consistently for 4 quarters. So that would be my sell. That would be my plea if I'm Steve Sarkisian and my football team. If we've got to find a way to put it together for 4 quarters. If we don't, This team we're playing, it's going to be
the best teams don't have the greatest team. The winner is not going to have lulls like that, especially against Ohio State. But a last quick thought. What's really interesting, he hadn't been a dog this year.
Yeah.
He is, and it's going to be in the state of Texas. Like, I can't think of a better situation for a very confident, talented team to walk in to be able to sell your guys. Nobody thinks we can do it, and you're going to have the whole state, or as much of it as you can fit in that building behind you. Isn't that the perfect setup for him?
Every coach is looking for motivation for their team. He doesn't have to manufacture it.
Right.
You don't have to make this up. It's real, and it's a different place than Texas has been in. The last time the Sark was an underdog was when he went to Alabama last year. He beat Nick Saban by 10 points on his home field, the worst loss Nick Saban ever suffered in Tuscaloosa. So the last time we saw Sark in this role, he thrived. Can he push the right buttons, motivate his team in a similar fashion? I can't wait to find out.
You know what's crazy about this entire conversation of this show and all of the tonnage of conversation that will continue leading into that game is how different it would be if they didn't hit that 4th and 13.
Oh.
Imagine like all that Texas is dealing with, going to an offseason. You're trying to build. They made it last year, right? If they lose in this game to that team after letting that lead, that's a massive win for them. It might not have been the prettiest way to get there, but if you're a Texas fan, who the hell cares? You got 60 minutes minimum.
Isn't there an old saying, just win, baby? Sometimes you just find a way. They found a way to win. They move on. They advance. Just like the tournament.
Yep.
Survive and advance. They get to play again next week.
I am a fan of Golden Hoops.
No timeouts. DeRozan has 25 and a half. DeMar DeRozan, 6 to go, got all the way to the ball. Dominant dynamite! Detonates on Detroit! Orange shot, just watch it. Down to 8. Moves on Pumler. Takes it in. Hammers it home. Dallas has got the lead. Doncic throws down a sledgehammer. Don't sleep on Luka. Drove it early.
Bogdanovich looking. Able to get it into Joseph. Back to Bogdanovich. Stolen by Rozier. He's got time. He's got a bucket. 1.6 on the clock.
Celtics with a 1-point lead.
Bogdanovich looking, gets it in. Half-court shot. Ooh, hit the rim. And Boston escapes. 112 to 111.
I tell you what, they were afraid of getting fouled, and that's why he moved the ball.
Again, the Grizzlies don't have a timeout. 8 tenths. Lob for three. Yes! David! Holy cow! So instead of Courtney Lee, it was Jeff Green. And I think it's not in a similar.
Crowder looking, throws it alley-oop. Oh! He puts it down! He puts it down! It's over! And they're trying to say goaltending, but that's a live basketball. He can finish it. Was that the basket counted? What a perfectly executed play. Ayton guides it in beautifully. What an incredible job by Monty Williams.
And don't discount the lob to Tyson Chandler. Exactly what they do. Over the top. Count it. They say score the basket. So if it doesn't touch the rim, I think that's good.
By 3 with 7.1 remaining. Westbrook shows from the basketball. Goes to the rim. And sticks the dagger into the Rockets.
For partner, Exhibit 8, as he goes up with the left hand.
The inbounds thrower. The lob for Butler. He did it. Jimmy Butler put it in with 0.3 of a second left and got fouled. Incredible. JV puts it on the deck, goes in, slams it down. Valanciunas are going to review it. Didn't leave his hands in time. JV, they guard the handoff, and so he goes in and throws it down.
8 seconds left. Bogdanovich with 6. It's in and out, and it's put back in. De'Aaron Fox with 3.3 to play gives the Kings an 89-88 lead.
This rebounder, you've got to get this rebound. Nobody checked him going to the basket. Everybody looked at the
timeouts. Out to Goodwin, 7 to play. Goodwin breaks away and hammers it down. Phoenix all the way back to get the ball to Goodwin.
The kick out top for Holiday. He's got Davis on the line. 2-point game. 2 seconds to play. It worked to perfection.
Yeah, Lynn is stuck in no man's land to where.
So Jazz can.
Oh, ball's down. Picked up. Beasley with a chance. Inside. Yes! Fontecchio! Off the steal by Utah. It's over. Wow. It's over. The Jazz beat the world champions.
Oh, my goodness. You couldn't even have drawn this up. Just great D.
Got a screen from Mamukelashvili. It's an ISO. Now he has it. ISO with J.D. Davis and spins it. Oh! Bring the house down! Mamukelashvili!
Wow. 1 bounce, 2 bounce, in your grill.
Bledsoe picked off by Green. Green to the basket. And a foul.
Young man, do your thing one more time. The head fake, the drive, the scoop. Dunk follow! Sadiq Bey! Trey over the fingertips of Barnes and Sadiq unchecked.
They close this one out. Marshall waving his teammates on about needing any help.
Oh, Collins! JC put the Mavericks to sleep and fired a strike on a line.
Sunday, 1 p.m. in the Garden. Taking on the best team in the Eastern Conference, the Boston Celtics. Terry! Jalen Terry getting to the rim.
Williams will inbound. Here's Smart. Tatum on the cut, takes it all the way and slams it. He wanted a foul. He ties the game at 107.
You set up in the backcourt with the start. You're trying. 5-2. Hudson's in trouble. Threw it away. Nuggets have it. 6 seconds remaining. Moutier in the middle. And we're tied up. Hold on. Timeouts are down. So look at Denver just off one another, trying to get open here to catch an opportunity. Burks going to one corner. Butler breaks free. Dunked it. He dunked it with 4.3 left to tie the game at 114. Right over the top and slammed him. Right there with the right arm on the back. And the body. That should have been a 3-point play.
Raptors fouled him before.
Missed it. Knicks just need 2. 5 seconds remaining. Barrett brings it up. Barrett on the drive. Goes inside. He throws it down. He throws it down. It's time. With 6/10 of a second remaining.
Slamming and jamming. A huge.
Malachi. Going into Johnson. He scores on the slam dunk. Oh, mama. Unbelievable. Go foul. Go foul. We go to overtime. Absolutely incredible.
There's Keldon. Looks like he's going to set a screen and catches Maxi Kleber helping out, and he goes for the lob.
Have the timeout to burn. Trey moves in, floats it, locked up for Conroe with 4 seconds left.
Trey got around to Sumu.